There are only blue counters, yellow counters, green counters and red counters in a bag. A counter is taken at random from the bag. The table shows the probabilities of getting a blue counter or a yellow counter or a green counter. Work out the probability of getting a red counter. So one thing we need to know for this question is that in scenarios like this, when one counter is being taken at random from a particular place, or in this particular question from the bag, all of the probabilities will add up to 1. So this means that the probability of choosing a blue counter or a yellow counter or a green counter or a red counter will equal 1. So this means that 0.2 plus 0.35 plus 0.4 plus the probability that the counter will be red will be equal to 1. And if we simplify this down, this gives us that 0.95 plus the probability the counter is red equals 1. And if we minus 0.95 from both sides of this equation, this tells us that the probability the counter will be red is equal to 0.05. And this is our final answer. And this question's worth 1 mark, and this is for the correct answer. What is the least possible number of counters in the bag? You must give a reason for your answer. So the first thing we should note for this question is the number of counters must be a whole number. So each of these probabilities must represent a whole number. So what we can look for is a common factor for each of these 4 numbers. And the highest common factor for these numbers is 0.05. And because the probability of choosing out a red counter is 0.05, then this means that there is 1 red counter in the bag. And what we can do is divide 0.05 by each of these other 3 probabilities and then add up the total. So 0.2 divided by 0.05 is 4, 0.35 divided by 0.05 is 7, and then 0.4 divided by 0.05 is 8. And we worked out we had 1 red counter, and if we add these all together, this gives us a total of 20 counters. So this means that the least possible numbers of counters in the bag is 20, and the reason for this is because the number of counters for each colour must be a whole number. And this question's worth 2 marks. We'll get our first mark for stating the least possible number of counters in the bag, and our second mark for a valid reason.